Welcome to We Know Marketing, We Promise. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Naoma, and this is a show about how to actually build a brand that works. Welcome back. Welcome to season 2 of We Know Marketing, We Promise. I know, I'm just as shocked as you.
I was like looking back at my camera roll and someone put something on Instagram that was like, look back at your camera roll and you'll see all the things that you accomplished this year and you'll feel proud and all this stuff. And I was like looking at all of the times that we messed up with the podcast because I have photos of every time we recorded. And it went all the way back to last February where we're in Mexico City and I'm like sick with the flu. And oh man, I was like,
With the lost
what
suitcase.
a year it's been.
With the lost suitcase.
Yeah, my suitcase was gone. Ended up picking it up as I was boarding my flight to go home. And I was like, that is pretty much how all of 2025 felt with the podcast. And I'm grateful I didn't know that that was what was coming.
I know, for real. The podcast never would have started with if we would have known.
No,
if we would have
absolutely
known
not.
the struggles we were about to encounter.
No. But we're here and we're actually, I feel really energized for this next year with the podcast. And I mean, I don't know how you feel, but
I feel very excited about the podcast.
Okay, I do
I think
too.
we have some really good ideas and some kind of cool tricks up our sleeve. So for the
Yeah.
upcoming year.
Yeah, I'm excited. Now we sit here, it's January 2nd, 2026. We made it
Made it.
to the new year. What were your
So we thought we'd start off with just like a little quick high and lows of the last year, and then we'll dive into our episode today. So
sounds good.
what do you think were your highs?
My highs would probably be just, I think I brought things through the finish line this year, and that is something that's very hard for me and unnatural. And so I have to try really hard I don't have like the enablement or tenacity in my like 6 working geniuses. Like that's not I'm a great idea person. Terrible at getting the idea through the finish line. But I can see like, okay, we went through a lot of trials with the podcast. We got it through the finish line though, and we completed 43 episodes in the last year that we
Which is
did it.
crazy.
It is. It really is. And we like had the party and yeah, I feel very, very proud of that. So I would say my high would just be the amount of things that I was able to get past the finish line last year. My lows, I'll let you say.
Man, okay.
I'm like, how do we end on a high note though? Can
Yeah.
you share a low first?
Well, I'm sure I have some lows, but I would say the high for me was definitely the podcast. I mean, I think just it's hard to suck at something that it's hard to suck at something when you've been good at something for so long and then you start something new and it's just inevitable. You're going to suck at it at first.
Yes.
So being okay with being not so great was probably a big challenge for me. But I think I'm very proud of the podcast. I would say another high is that like I made it through business. I made it through business in a really weird year. And there wasn't like much growth, but like for us to like have hit the same numbers as the year before, I'm pretty proud of that because the first quarter of last year was like, very terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, those are both really good wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say my low would probably be just the amount of money I spent on team and training and investment. And then for that to like, it feels like it was wasted because it still is emotional and it still feels personal to me. I know it's not personal. But that was really, really hard on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I looked back at how much I invested in people this last year and then got to the end of the year and had a completely different team, that was really hard for me. But I know logically that nothing's ever wasted. I learned so much. I'm doing things so differently this year already with my team as casting vision. And even what we're talking about today, like we actually did a strategic reset for this year and trainings, and this is our standard operating procedure from end to end, and like actually updating that every time I tweak it. Like it's even a tweak, I'm putting it in there in writing. And so I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at today with that much intentionality had I not gone through what I went through this last year, but the team side was very hard. I can't even remember like how many times I called you crying this year about that.
I don't know, but we can start the tally anew for the
It's
new
a new
year.
year.
And then at the end of this year, we'll have another episode. We'll talk about how many times we cried on the phone to each other.
Yeah, really
Um,
though.
but yeah, I mean, I think you did have a lot of struggles with team and how the structure of Stevie's in place and how you do delivery. I think
Mhm.
you've learned a lot though through a lot of trial and error, which unfortunately
How we learn.
is the way we learn, and the lesson gets really well ingrained. So,
Yeah, what's that children's book? It's like, you can't go over it, you can't go under it. I guess you have to go through it.
I don't know.
It's a book I read. Yeah, it's a book I read to my daughter. But yeah, it literally talks about all these little like problems, scenarios that this person comes to. And it's like, well, I guess I have to go through it. And it just
Yeah.
teaches them like you can't avoid it. You really do have to go through it and learn it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I would say a low for me was, and this is what I'm actually trying to mediate this year, is I am really bad at uh hard conversations, when I'm like when I have to be like the quote unquote bad guy, whatever that is, like those are really hard for me to like bring up, and which is why my inbox is exploded, and I probably just kept clients on and team on for longer than was really necessary for both on both sides. So I think that was probably my lowest low, and I really learned that lesson, to the fact that now every Monday between 8 and 9:30 I have a block in my calendar that says put on your big girl panties.
Are you awake and moving and functioning from 8 to 9:30? I'm like, normally you're a later morning person.
I normally am, but with my son going to school, like
Oh, that's
I'll
right.
be up.
Yeah, you're taking him to school. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So then I'm like, okay, this is my time to like
Kick off your day.
kick off my week, and I'm gonna put on my big girl panties, and I'm gonna do the hard things that I need to do that week. So
And is that email and what else?
that's email, hard conversations, avoiding looking at my insurance premium, whatever the thing is that I'm avoiding and I just keep shoving
Okay.
to the side, I know is the thing that I need to like do.
Okay.
So,
I can't wait to hear how that goes.
yeah, me too.
Did you do it this week or it starts Monday?
It starts Monday,
Okay.
but it's already all in the calendar, like done.
It's
So
happening.
it's happening. We'll see what happens.
Man, that's going to be good. Okay, so then let's jump into kind of like a Q1 strategic reset and kind of talk to the audience and each other about kind of what we're both doing within our businesses and what we're doing with the podcast as we're kind of resetting for this next year.
So I think one, I wanted to say, like, the reason we're really talking about this, like, systems over tactics and why you need this reset is because it's like New Year's Eve, it's like New Year's resolutions. You all like start so excited. I'm gonna hit the gym. I'm only gonna eat kale. Like all these things that you say you're gonna do, but then by like February 1, you already forgot everything. And so we don't want that to happen in your business. So um from experience.
Yeah.
Literally. So that's why we want to talk about this. So we both did a reset a little bit differently though. So I had a vision casting session with my team because I have two new team members, and I have one team member that has been with me for almost 3 years. And so I was thinking back and I was like, I don't think I've ever shared the vision of the company with her,
Mm,
or what I'm really trying to build. I think she's kind of maybe can hint at it, but she could not tell you what we were really, what the end goal was. So I used this opportunity to say, okay, this is where we're going. This is what we want to be doing. And how can we all work together to get there with the system? And then we create the tactics, right? We've
hmm
kind of talked about that in our vision episode. Um, but yeah, and that was really great. 2-hour session.
Yeah, I was about to ask how long it was and then like how did you structure even the session? Just with a bunch of questions or
No, no, no. So there was actually not a ton of
Oh,
questions.
it would be you just reviewing with them. Do you do, like, a full presentation and
Nope, it was
okay,
literally a Google Doc and, like,
okay.
shared screen. So it does not have to be this huge. That's where I think a lot of people get scared is, like, I
Yeah.
have to put together this deck and I have to make this big presentation. Does not have to be this big of a deal. So what I did is I did prep for it, so I made an agenda and I was like, "Okay, the first part, I'm gonna talk about our vision for the company, and then I'm gonna talk about our mission and why we're doing the thing that we're doing, and then I talk about our core values. What are our core values, why these are important, and how these should like lead into everything that we're doing. From there, I had what I call a postmortem. So like what happened this last year that went really, really well? What lessons did we learn? Where do you see some cracks on your end? And we talked about it openly, but then I had each of them fill out questions. And so I took like 15 minutes for them to fill out questions. And when they present, and then they had to present their answers. And some of it was about me. So I had to remember like taking feedback and listening to feedback is an executive skill. And so I'm not here to defend myself. And I'm here to listen to my team and figure out how to make it better for the team. So there were some things that were said to me um, that I was aware of, but I didn't realize how aware they were of it. So that was really good for me to hear, like, oh, I'm kind of um, bleeding over in these areas. Like my emotions may be bleeding over in these areas where I'm putting too much on my team. Um, and then from that session, we were like, okay, if these are, after we listened to everybody, we were like, okay, what are the like 3 or 4 common things that we keep hearing are issues? And then we wrote them all down, and then we go through and say, "Okay, knowing what our vision is that an issue we're solving or not?" And then we haven't had the brainstorm session yet, but we'll have that next week where we take an hour and we brainstorm, okay, knowing that these are our problems, what are solutions that we can explore to solve those problems?
So you guys came up with the issues list in this first meeting,
Yeah.
but then it's like you need a little bit more time to kind of process those things.
Yeah, because I wanted to work
And
through our 6 working geniuses as a team. I wanted to highlight go over that.
okay. So then can you give some examples of like what were some of the issues or the problems that were brought up? Because I think that kind of feels vague and mysterious.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I'm just kind of glossing over it.
Right.
So the main core issue, and this has been something that I knew has been an issue, and I have not been able to solve it yet, which is how can we improve the client experience of delivery, not the onboarding or the offboarding or like the meetups in the middle with the client, but the in and out of, "Hey, I need you to approve this, and I need you to look over this." Like, that is a big pain point for us, and not to the point where we're not doing our job, but just, like, for the level that we are at and the level that the value that we bring, it does not feel as premium as it should be, and
Yeah,
so that was something that we all agreed on, and that is a big friction point that we're looking to solve, and I think we actually have almost solution, I'm hoping. Clint and I were talking about it. So
that's great.
that was one pain point. Another was we had become too overly processed to the point that we were cutting out the brainstorm and the imagination and the wonder from our process, which is really bad as a design studio.
Yeah, I was about to say that because
Um,
you're a creative studio. Like
yeah.
you
So
have to have that.
we had become so overly processed that it didn't feel like we had enough time to really like sit in the problem with the client to try to figure out the best solution. And
Hmm.
so that was really great feedback for me because I felt it, but like I didn't realize how badly my team wanted that, like wanted more of it. So we solved that pretty quickly. We were just like, okay, every other week we have a 2-hour brainstorm session on the calendar with the whole team because it's not just the designer and me, the creative director, that are going to be thinking about this. Everybody has
A part to play.
touch points with the client, and everybody's a creative. Like everybody on my team has been a designer at some point or a strategist. So even though they're not in a design role, they know design.
That's cool. That's really cool. So that was an easier fix when you're thinking of like an actual delivery system and process and what software do you need and like what does that look like? That's a little bit of a longer solve rather than like, okay, we can put 2 hours on the calendar. That's an easy fix.
That's an easy fix. Done.
Yeah.
It's solved.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, the software stuff, because as we all know, I love to look into software. That has been the more challenging part. And I have had a lot of people come up to me and they're like, what software do you recommend for this and this and this? Or I need this for blah, 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 blah. And what I almost always see is that they're looking for a software to solve their system problem.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can't find the right software if you don't know what you want it to do for you.
Yep.
So the best way that I can tell people what to look for is you need to whiteboard out your process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know and you and I did this last year with your process.
Mm-hmm. We did.
And then it just kind of helps to see what you actually need to solve the problems in your business before you just go and get every single trial and then don't move the needle because you're trying to think in tactics rather than saying, okay, let me take a step back and look at my system, look at my strategy, look at what we're trying to solve as a team. And unfortunately, there's no one size fits all.
No, and it doesn't always stay for a long period of time. And the goal would be that you're constantly learning more and more. And so you're able to, you have the system, you have the strategy and the plan, and then you start implementing it into a software like we use ClickUp for ours. And it's like, ever since I started kind of pulling apart our ClickUp to align it to the system, because we wrote it all out. And I was like, okay, now I know. And then now it's like I have another layer of like, okay, like you're working on your delivery, we're working on our delivery as well. And so if this is our new system for delivery and this is the process that we're going to follow, first let's write it out, let's train the team on it. And then I'm working on implementing it to ClickUp while they're still learning the like written side of it. Cause I've been like really, trying to figure that out over the last couple of weeks. They haven't been thinking about it as much as I have.
No.
So give this to them that they can like, start studying and practicing. And then once it's implemented in ClickUp, I can train them on that side of it too. So they're getting almost like that double, they're reading it, but they're also like practicing it with their hands in the system.
But you can only get to that because you have cast the vision of, hey, this is how I foresee the delivery of our stuff for our clients.
Yes. And everyone gets like excited about it because it's better than what we've been offering and the client's going to be happier and it's actually easier on our team. And it makes it almost added this like playful game back into all of our creation, which was so fun to like see them light up when I was explaining it to them. And so I was like, oh man, the wonder and the imagination, like giving them the creative space to also be a part of that with me, I think was important too. But you have to slow down. And that was probably like we have our in-person on Sunday because I have a couple of contractors and they are home for Christmas, but they're going to be gone and they work fully remote. And so the only time we could all be in person was this Sunday. And so I'm doing vision, core values. I didn't talk about doing a postmortem, but I'm adding that in now that you said that. That's, very smart.
It just helps to say, oh yeah, that went really well. How do we keep that? That sucked. How do we fix that?
Yeah. Yeah. What felt terrible? This did. And it's like one of the things I think that will come up is like someone was like, doesn't Christmas come on the same day every year? Why are we always sprinting to Christmas for like client work and stuff? And I was like, that's a really good point. We should have some like things in place that can like help us not sprint to Christmas next year. That's something we can work on.
Yes, but also knowing you and knowing where your business was last year versus what it is this year, or what it was in 2024 versus what it was in 2025, totally different models, totally different game. So like,
that is true.
So give yourself some grace is what I'm saying. Is like, yes, Christmas always comes, but like in marketing, LOL. Like,
good luck.
We can try as much as possible to plan and like make things perfect, but like It's not, because people drag their feet. They can't make it. Like, as soon as November hits, like, it's really hard to, like, kind of nail people down.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's very true. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But then it was also like, okay, well, if we're following this new system that I've put in that we're starting to implement, you know, this next,
this year.
yeah, literally right now, because we're in 2026. Then we should be in a place where we're not, of course there's things that go wrong. There's certain things that like a client needs us to no longer post because they lost an employee, or, you know, with us, it's like we really do have to be very nimble, due to those things.
Yeah.
But once again, the tactic would be, let's just fix timing of Christmas. And it's like, no, that's actually not what we need to do. Let's go back a few steps and like figure out why our system and client delivery is feeling so rushed.
Like, almost what I like, this is me problem solving in real time, but almost what I think you should do is like, in October, you should almost like double your video productions the month of October, early November. So that way you have no video productions end of November through December, and that's all like preloaded in. And you maybe make them more like evergreen content, so it's not so much like about an employee or whatever those
Yeah.
potential issues could be. But that could be a, like, October will just kind of suck a little bit more, but it won't be so rushed
Yeah.
when everybody's wanting to have holiday parties and let's
Yeah.
go out to dinner and whatever those things are that always pop up in December.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. We did something very similar to that this year, and I think it was effective. I started talking to them about the holidays in September,
Yeah.
and I also knew I was going to be out the entire month of October. Like I was in a different state every week for, I don't even know, 12 weeks. And I'm also not doing that this year.
Yeah.
So changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think going back to kind of what we had even started with is like, you start out Q1 very motivated, all these new plans. Usually you've done 2 weeks of kind of dreaming, casting vision, or not. I've like not been able to work much at all because I've been really needing rest and reset. Which I know you mentioned, like, that's kind of how you know, like, how close you are to burnout is how you feel at Christmas break. Like,
Yeah.
and I really did. I needed to rest. I needed to take care of myself. I needed to be around friends and family, and I needed to not travel. And it was hard at moments, and I did feel myself wanting to pull out my computer, but I really did stick to that.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to be happier on the other side of that for sure. I do feel more rested today, but I'm also like, oh man, now we're already in January and we have the vision meeting. We're talking about Q1 and what do these disciplines look like? And how do I not mess up this year already?
I will say, like, when you do the postmortem, that's kind of when you see like those friction points, and it's really easy to be like, "Oh my gosh, I have to solve all of these." Right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the problem with Q1, is then you also feel motivated that you probably could solve all of them. But that's not the end goal. Like, you can't solve all of them. So what I would say is, when those things come up, I would ask, is that something worth solving? What would happen if we solved this? And does this solution still line up to the vision of the company that I've set? And if it's a no for most of that, then it's not a problem we're solving.
That's good.
So I would really focus on what are the things that are going to move the needle the most, from those friction points that come up, and then which are the easiest ones to like blocking stuff in the calendar. Easy, done, it's already set. What is the next easy thing you can do before you take on like bigger stuff? And I would say, if you can keep it to 3 to 4 big like goals, then you can layer up your tactics to get to those goals. But if you're trying to solve everything and everything become a goal and everything become this crazy sprint in Q2 and Q1, you're going to burn out your team by February. And that's kind of what we're trying to tell you to not do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like, okay, you have Q1. What's something you're not going to do based on that list of issues? What is one thing that you can do? And then how are you going to track the success of it? Because I think it's also so important to celebrate with your team. And
Mm,
so if you have solved a problem in Q1 and everyone's been a part of like getting this delivery problem solved, and it looks better on at the end of Q1 versus it does right now, like
yeah.
I think we have to pause and be like, hey guys, here's everything we did in Q1 to solve this problem that we had. I'm really proud of you. We're going to celebrate in this way, whatever it needs to look like. But
Hmm.
that is something I have not done well, is like pausing and celebrating with my team and encouraging them along. Like, this was a really big deal, and now client satisfaction is up this much percent or whatever. And we can
Hmm.
get those analytics or whatever data from our account manager, because she's going to be able to like really feel how the client is
Yeah.
with our system, with our new system. If they
Yeah.
hate it, if they love it. And it's like, man, I hear these things, and I said this to the team when I did an in-person training with them this week, but I sat down with a client to go through, every 3 months we'll do like a 90-minute strategy session with the client, and I try to do it in person. I really have become a very in-person
I think we're
individual.
all,
Like, I
I
want to
think,
meet with my clients in person to talk about their strategies. Like, even if I have my computer and I'm just typing stuff, like I'm so sick of Zoom. And I also think with my team, there's so much distraction that if I can get them in the room with me in person, it's like we're going to leave our phones over there. I get distracted by my phone. They're getting
yeah.
distracted by their phone, and no one's really listening on these like Zoom calls. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Well, this is such a waste of time. Like, we need to listen, and engage. But when I met with the client, they've been with us for about 3 years. And one of the questions I had for them in the strategy session was like, we went through all of their business stuff, what we had accomplished, what my thoughts were, like expertise wise, where I think we should go. And then I just asked for feedback on like, how do you feel like our communication is? How do you feel like our shoots are going? How do you feel like how do you feel about like our internal operations side of things or whatever? And it was so encouraging to even ask that, because I was like, this could go so poorly because you're opening yourself up to feedback. But they were like, you have grown so much since we first started with you, with like structure and systems and your processes. And so I didn't tell my team that. Like, I forgot from that meeting with the client, but it's like that is a win to celebrate with the entire team, because we've all been working towards like a better system and process. And so I think something that I very much devalued last year was just celebrating.
Yeah. That's something that I brought up in my session with the team too. I was like, I've not done a good job of, and this is a core value of ours, which is fun. And I told them I've not done a good job of this because I have been just running from meeting to meeting to thing to doing this and that. And so, um, that's not a strength of mine to pause and reflect.
Yeah.
So that is something that, I know we need to do, but I also have someone on the team now that like galvanizing is in their top 3.
Oh, really?
And so I'm like,
That's a rare one.
I know, I'm like, we're gonna put you're gonna be in charge of fun.
Yeah. You are FUN for this team.
Just because I also have to remind myself like what we do for our clients is fun. Like, it's a
Yes.
fun thing for their
Yes.
business. It is work for us, but at the end of the day, it's I mean, I think more people would prefer to come to a brand presentation than a P&L review meeting.
Very much. Yes.
So,
Yes. And that's why, yeah, I mean, that's the same thing. I'm like, I remind my team all the time, I'm like, social media is fun. This is the fun part of what our clients get to do. And so when we're at shoots and we're doing meetings with them and we're talking through analytics and we're brainstorming and we're going over pre-production, like, this is fun. Like,
yeah,
these ideas should be fun. These posts should be fun. Like,
yeah,
we don't need to keep it so serious or over
over
processed.
processed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there has to be some imagination and some creativity. So, I guess we could probably end with just kind of talking through what does it look like, to kind of, I mean, I think we've given them enough information on like what we've done, but
Well, right here in our notes,
which is something we're doing that's
we're
new.
doing, it says these are the key 3 takeaways that you can take with you. So, is 1, pick whatever system that you need to stabilize your process. And like I kind of said in the beginning, like this is more of a scaffold. Like it does not need to be as someone who is coming from something so overly processed, think of it more as a scaffold than like a full structure. So there's some moving and some ability until you get used to that system that you're putting in place. Um, I think it's super important to put your system in writing first to understand your process, like on a whiteboard, rather than just jumping into a software to try to fix it.
Yeah. And I think it needs to live in like, I mean, we have
Some
like
sort
our
of
Stevie
doc.
Social wiki now, and it's like, here's our process end to end. And then here's the process for scheduling a
This.
post. And here's the process for adding a new ClickUp card into ClickUp, like having all those things that are easily accessible, but they need to be written down, and then it needs to reflect that in the software. That way, when you're making changes, there's something, it's like the instructions and then the actual like reality of it.
Yeah. I think if you're running something that's way more, like you are so much more production heavy than we are.
Yeah, I have a lot
So
of detail.
for us, like it would feel that would become over processed for us. But one thing that we're starting to do is like writing that um the Nuevo way, like the Nuevo method. And it's like, how do you run through a file to make sure it's like up to Naomi standard, essentially.
Oh, that's great.
So I think another one is like, out of everything that you think you're going to accomplish this quarter, like let's decide what we're not doing this quarter.
Yeah,
That may
and
help you.
that alone, like, break it down into this quarter. Like, you do not need to look at the whole of 2026 right
Yeah.
now. That is one of the fastest ways to burn out too, is like, let's look at the next 3 months.
Yeah. But align it to the vision. Align it back to the vision. And then define the successful metrics that you need to like get the whole team excited about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope this helps. Happy New Year.
And that's a wrap on this episode.
If you found this helpful, hit subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend.